Hi, my name is Kate Bowski and I teach 3rd grade here at Milton Elementary School in Milton, Delaware. We are a whole brain classroom. And today I'd like to take you on a tour of our room and show you what I set up prior to the children coming in so that we can do whole brain teaching and learning all year long. So it's the first day of school and I am ready to expose my children to all of the fun that is whole brain teaching. 2 things that I try to remember throughout the year is 1, I can have a very organized classroom with high standards and still make learning fun for my students by using whole brain teaching. The second thing I try to remember is that it's very, very important to celebrate student success. This is a really key component of whole brain teaching. No matter how big or how small, we always want to keep our students motivated by celebrating the improvements that they make throughout the year. So how do we start all of this in a 3rd grade classroom? Well, when my students come in on the very first day, I introduce them to the class yes. And I will explain to them that when I say class, they will respond with yes. So I say class, and they say yes. Then I will start to vary my patterns and my voice tone, and they start to giggle and laugh. So it sounds kind of like this. Class, class. And they'll say yes, yes. Or I might say class, and they'll say yes. So it gets them into understanding that however I say class is how they should respond with yes. The next thing that I will teach them is mirrors and words, and I show them how to do our hand motions, and I explain to them that when I say mirrors and words, they repeat mirrors and words. And then we kind of test out our mirrors, and they do exactly what I'm doing. This is what makes whole brain teaching so great. It makes everything visual. As I am doing this, the students are doing it with me. I can actually see whether or not I have 100% engagement in my classroom because I can see what the students are doing along with me. From there, I am now ready to start teaching them about the 5 rules. We start with just Rule 1. Rule 1, follow directions quickly. And from there, I will start to teach them about the Teach OK. Now, if you'd like to know the exact process that I use for all of these steps, you will find on my blog a handy-dandy little set of note cards that explains step by step how I introduce whole brain teaching in my 3rd grade classroom. These are free for you, and I'll give you the blog address at the end of this video. As you can see, this is kind of my teaching central area. I have my whiteboard here where I list my essential questions, or you might have objectives. In the 5-step lesson plan for whole brain teaching, we always start with a question. So this is a great way to keep those questions in front of your students all day long so that you can refer back to them. And they can stay here from day to day if you're spending more time on a question than just one class period. I also have my smartboard here, and this is where I have my procedures. And I teach my children about their morning procedures because I want them to do these things every day when they come into my classroom. So it will look something like this. I'll say class, and they'll say yes, and I'll say mirrors and words, and they'll say mirrors and words. And I say step 1, and they repeat after me. And step 1 on my list is lunch magnet. So I will say, move your lunch magnet. And they will repeat after me, move your lunch magnet. They'll then teach that to their partner. My second step is to copy their agenda. So I will say, class, and they'll say yes, and we'll say mirrors and words. Step 1, move your lunch magnet. Step 2, copy the agenda. And then they'll turn and they'll teach their partner that. My 3rd step is to do their morning work. So now I'm going to go back, and part of whole brain teaching is reviewing. So I'm going to review steps 1, 2, and 3. Class, and they'll say yes, and I'll say mirrors and words, and they'll repeat after me. And I'll say step 1, move your lunch magnet. Step 2, copy your agenda. Step 3, morning work. And that way they start to remember, by teaching their partners with the Teach OK, the 3 things that I want them to do every single morning. And I will repeat this with them over and over for maybe the first 2 weeks of school until they begin to understand it. The other thing that I have up here is my scoreboard. And this is one place where you're going to find it's a great classroom manager, and it's also a motivator. We've got our happies and our frowny faces. And what I try to do with my scoreboard is, first of all, keep it close to where I'm teaching, because that means I don't have to spend time walking around the room to put marks on it. I want to use this very, very frequently. The other thing is that this is just a simple whiteboard marked off with some blue electrical tape. And I like it to be portable because sometimes I'll move my students to different areas of the classroom, and I can take my scoreboard with me. I don't have to leave it here and be stuck with it here. I can take it back to the rug with me, or I can take it to the back table, or I can take it to a small group of students where I might be working. So I can use this in many different areas in the classroom. So the 5 rules are a very important part of whole brain teaching, and I have mine posted here on this bulletin board. They are here the day the students walk into the classroom, and they stay here all year long. It's in a place where the kids can easily reference these if they need to, especially towards the middle of the year, towards the end, when they start to forget things or they might need a refresher. They're here for the students. We start with the 5 rules on day 1 within the very first few minutes of class. As soon as we get all of the parents ushered out of the room, we start using our Class Yes and our Teach OK and Mirrors and Words to review our 5 rules. And these will be what we use for our classroom management system throughout the year. The Super Improver wall is another item of whole brain teaching that I have posted in my classroom for the day the students arrive. As you can see, though, it's not complete. And the reason that I do this is because I want the students' interest to really be tweaked about what is this. I want it to be a little bit mysterious to get them interested and talking about it and asking questions about it. So I do have it labeled as Super Improvers. I have stars up enough so that each student has 1. And then I also have the different levels listed. And this will stay like this until about week 2, maybe week 3. By the second week, I will start to put the students' names up. My lowest level is white, and so every student will have their name on a white tag next to a star. And I will just leave it there for a day or 2 until the students really start to get interested and we can talk about what is the Super Improver team, how does it work, how do they earn stars, and I can explain the whole system to them. This is the one piece of whole brain teaching that is really going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. It is a great motivational system. It really begins to make doing well an intrinsic motivating force for the kids. They don't need prizes anymore. They don't need little treats. Just giving stars and moving up these levels is enough to keep them motivated. So far, we've talked about the Class Yes, the Teach OK, the Mirror and Words is what we start with. The scoreboard is very, very important to have up your first day. We've talked about the 5 rules, and now we have our Super Improver team. To start your year off in a 3rd grade classroom, it's my recommendation that those are the components that you really want to have in order to start your year. The scoreboard is great for keeping your kids motivated. The rules are good for reminders and for keeping that class rolling without calling out negative behaviors. And then your Super Improver team will come into play within the first 2 to 3 weeks of school. And that's really going to start to build your students' self-esteem and knowing that they can accomplish things. So those are the 3 main areas that I would say you would want to have in a 3rd grade classroom for whole brain teaching. I'm going to show you one more that I put up in my classroom that you might be interested in. This is how I display my PowerPix wall. Since I have very limited wall space in my classroom, I mounted pocket charts on PVC and attached them to a pulley system on my windows. The charts can be moved up and down using the pulley to add cards whenever I need to. So what is a PowerPix? Well, a PowerPix is a visual representation of the core vocabulary words taken right from our grade level standards. PowerPix gives students a picture that helps them remember the definition and gesture for content vocabulary. I start by displaying only the PowerPix that I will be teaching at the beginning of the year, and then as new vocabulary is introduced, I can add new cards. So that's just a quick peek into my 3rd grade whole brain teaching classroom. I hope you learned a few quick tips today about how to set up your own classroom. If you'd like some more resources, please do check out the wholebrainteaching.com website. There are a wealth of freebies that you can download there. There are videos to watch, forums where you can ask questions and trade ideas with other teachers. You can also access things that are very specific to 3rd grade on my blog, and you'll see that address at the bottom of your screen. You are free to download anything off of there. It is all free for teachers, and we do encourage you to share the word about whole brain teaching. We hope you have a great year, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email.